welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since my last upload, but here I am now. Anywho, let's get into this. So, you've probably heard this word left and right by now, that word being eras. Yes, eras. If you didn't know already, an era is a point in time at which something significant occurred. An era is defined by the events that take place to someone or something. The word eras is thrown around a lot in today's vocabulary as a means of defining oneself from a distinct time period. Taylor Swift fans are no stranger to this word, and Disney too has jumped on the bandwagon with its merchandising revolving around said eras. So, with this, I figured it'd be appropriate to join them and try my hand at defining my own unique eras. So, this video will pretty much backtrack to all the different versions of myself from the past. Oh boy, let's do this. But while you're watching, I want you, as the viewer, to think of all the different eras in which you find significant that built or broke you to be who you may be to this day. I'm eager to hear what y'all have to say about yourselves. Alright, so I broke up my past selves into 7 different eras. Some of us may have more than 7, but mind you, this is just me we're talking about for today. I began my journey with 2015 and ended it at 2021. Why just leave it at 2021? Well, that's because 2022 and 2023 were kind of fuzzy for me, and they both felt the same in terms of my aesthetic and style. But back on track, within the course of 2015 to 2021, each era had a different Jeremy, with the way I changed up my appearance, thoughts, outlook on life, etc. Not to mention, I depicted each era with a different color code. The colors I chose were what I felt were definitive for those timeframes at which an era was made distinct. So for instance, 2015, you got this grayish blue, and so forth. Okay, so 2015 was when I really kicked off my journey into chronicling my life. It was the year I started high school as a freshman and was the year I branched out to find my own style. So 2015 Jeremy can be defined as the hipster slash anime slash, dare I say it, the furry. Sorry, furry, yes, yeah, 2015 really saw a furry version of Jeremy because, good lord, what was I thinking? Okay, so sorry for the interruption, but I'm actually reading off of a script right now, but I'm probably going to stop doing that here in a second because it's honestly getting kind of tiring having to write everything up and then having to re-record it, etc., etc., so I'm probably just going to wing the rest of this memo, and sorry if it sounds choppy, so here we go. Alright, so as much as I hate to look back at this era, and as much as I hate seeing myself as a furry, gosh dang it, I have to look at myself and think, well, everyone's got to start somewhere. And boy, did I start somewhere. I guess the most important thing is that I ended this era because, I mean, I'm not too proud of it. But it was an era nonetheless. So yeah, recap for 2015. Hipster, nerdy, anime, I mean, the full 9 yards. What more can you ask for? Anywho, let's move on because I'm honestly getting kind of embarrassed of this era. Let's move on to 2016, shall we? Alrighty, 2016. New era, new me. Alrighty, this era from 2016, I like to define as the Beach Boy era. You're about to see a whole lot of blue and a whole lot of beach and a whole lot of whatever this is. No, really, because, like, what was with the tongue? Like, what were you thinking? So, the main thing you should take away from this particular era was this was the one era where I actually started to feel comfortable in my skin, and I was actually starting to like who I was, and I was starting to, well, a lot of starts. So, the puka shell necklace, the blue shirt, the whole blue thing going on. I can't really beat myself up for this era because it is a huge step up in stark contrast to 2015's version of me. But there you have it, folks. That's 2016 me, aka the Beach Boy era. Alright, moving on. Let's go to 2017, shall we? Okay, so 2017 is, well, let's just say we shied away from the Beach Boy and into the Greaser era. Okay, so with the Greaser era, it's apparent why I dubbed it that, mainly due to the blatant greaser look and the uncanny leather jacket I begged and pleaded my mom to buy me, which in hindsight looks tacky as all hell. But at the time, it was all the rage, I guess. I don't know. I sometimes wish time travel was a thing so I could go back and slap myself on the wrist for all the dumb things I did and all I put myself through, but that's a story for another day. Let's keep this PG, okay? But I suppose I wanted to break from my Beach Boy era and fade into the Bad Boy era. Okay, so I say bad boy with a grain of salt, mainly because I was just going for the whole aesthetic of the greaser look. I wasn't actually trying to be bad. I was actually a pretty good kid at the time, and I really was trying to just show off my leather jacket and, like, cool sneakers or whatever. And yes, I actually did slick my hair back with a pound of gel every morning, and yes, the gloves were actually a thing. I actually had a friend make them for me. It was kind of weird. But anywho, yeah, greaser look. Also, just a side note, can I just say I'm actually not proud of this era, like, one bit, because this is one of those egotistical moments in my life where I just was, like, a little too cocky with myself. And by cocky, I'm talking about self-awareness. It got to a point where I just was trying to look and be someone that I wasn't, to a point where I didn't even remember who I was to begin with. So much so that it got to the point where I had to just reevaluate myself and just look in the mirror and ask, okay, Jeremy, what are you doing? Who are you? What are you doing with yourself? I found the more I tried, the harder it was trying to put on this facade of something that I'm not, so I just had to give up and I guess just find ways of trying to reignite who I actually was. Once I finally did that, things got a whole lot smoother and I could breathe for the first time and I could actually see crystal clear who I really was. And who I really was on the inside wasn't a stupid greaser nor a bad boy. Who I really was honestly just a kid deep down who just wanted to draw and make others smile. And with this new mentality, we enter into the next era known as the sweet but sour era, but I officially have dubbed it the spiritual era because this is where I truly came to know my place in the world. So with this era, I'm actually going to try and mesh 2018 with 2019 because these two eras coincide with each other. I call this the sweet and sour era because, well, it starts out sweet and it goes kind of sour, but then it goes back to being sweet again. So I'm going to do my best to try and explain why it's the sweet and sour era. Alright, so with 2018, it's very spiritual, mainly because I was doing a whole lot of soul searching and like trying to find the light, and I guess I just came closer to God within that year. I guess you could say 2018 was pretty sweet, right? It wasn't until towards the end of 2018 when things turned sour. Alright, so the end of 2018 was sour mainly because, well, I lost someone very dear to my heart. And I'm pretty sure you can connect the dots when I say my said friend took the easy way out. As much as I hate that my friend made this untimely departure, and while it left us grief-stricken, I will say that even as selfish as it was, it made me come to the realization that you never know what others might be going through. Even through the smiles and laughter, there's no telling just what someone truly feels. 2018 was mostly reflective on celebrating those around you and making time for those still here. Because life is full of twists and turns, and you never know if tomorrow will come or not. All the while, it drew me closer to God, and I matured spiritually. I did some more reevaluating akin to that of 2017, where I set my sights on what life even meant. Which brings us to probably my best era, that is 2019, aka the colorful era. 2019 was a splash of cold water after 2018 ended. I was leaving that dark, melancholy color palette and turned to bright, poppy pastel colors, seen in my wardrobe, my body language, as well as in my artwork. 2019 was a celebration of my artistry and the joy I felt after seeing how truly a gift life is. Physically and mentally speaking, I let my hair go crazy and didn't groom it anymore. I was finally in a happy place. Life at the moment was a blast of love and color, until one day in 2020, the COVID nation attacked and everything went to complete. Alright, 2020, not really a fan of her. Interestingly enough, I actually never caught COVID that year. I mean, everyone in my family did except for me. I honestly don't know what it was about me, but hey. So yeah, you can probably tell where this is going just by the aesthetic of how I drew, 2020's look. So yeah, dark colors, depressed, I kind of broke my knee that year at work. Ouch. Shaved my hair. Wow. The list goes on and on, just a multitude of, bad thing after bad thing. I honestly wasn't surprised whenever something would actually come up. I would just be like, oh, okay, anyway. But yeah, 2020 was not a good look. Anywho, after the whole vaccine rolled out and 2020 came to an end and 2021 scared us half to death because we honestly didn't know what was coming, I guess you could say life kind of went back to normal and it was honestly a fresh breath of air for me. With 2021, I mostly associate this era with fall and autumn, hence the red, because that was the year I was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief with the entire COVID hysteria somewhat at an all-time low. Not to mention fall that year, for some reason, felt magical for lack of better phrasing, I don't know. Bringing back the beanie and flannel after all these years was kind of a nice callback to where it all began and how far I'd come. I guess you could say 2021 was alright. Steady income, making friends, and a new leaf turned over, so to speak. It was a relaxing era nonetheless. Which finally concludes my journey through the 7 different eras. And I only grimaced like twice narrating this, cause eesh. Well, I'm afraid that's all the time I have for today. Apologies if this video wasn't as cohesive as you'd envision, but in my defense it did take nearly 2 months to edit and piece together with the way work had been treating me. Anywho, I want to hear in the comments which era you thought was the best and why. Also, feel free to comment your own different eras that you may have gone through. I'm always open ears. No, really, I'm always open ears. I mean, my boss is practically a mouse. Seeing how this video does, I may upload a straggler vid where I elaborate more on the recent eras, being 2022 through 2023, but that's a future me problem, am I right? Also, don't forget the social platforms kids are into these days. See you next time, and thanks for watching.